Hey there everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ark Survival Ascended. As always, I'm Captain Beefy. This is the Game Vault, and we're going to kind of do a 500-hour review. Maybe not a review so much as just my general thoughts on the game. The good, the bad, and the ugly at this point. So, let's cue up the music and we'll get right to it. Alright, first off, we're going to start on a positive note, and we're going to talk about some of the things I really like in the game. And there are quite a few. Overall, the game is pretty nice looking compared to Ark Survival Evolved. Now, it does have its flaws on console, but, you know, overall, it's much better. The water looks great, the creatures look fantastic, the render distance is awesome, the clouds, the volumetric fog, everything combines together to give you a really pleasant experience and a really beautiful world to explore. But that being said, it's not, it's not as nice as I thought it would be on console. No, I never expected it to look as good as it did on PC when the first footage came out on PC. Never expected it to be that nice, but, even so, there's still some stuff in the game that looks a little rough from time to time, but I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully optimization will continue through various patches, and they'll make it look, better and better as we go along. That's what I would expect at least, or hope for, I should say. Now, some other things I really like about the game is there's a lot of quality of life updates in this game that make it so much better than the old one. Silly little things like Oviraptors automatically picking up eggs and being able to choose whether or not they pick up fertilized or unfertilized eggs is fantastic. Beetles automatically picking up poop within a certain radius to turn it into fertilizer. Another fantastic thing. There's nothing more aggravating than having to stuff your beetle full of poop, and you can only fit 5 or 6 pieces in him because of his weight. Now he can just slap cap himself basically on poop, and you've got nothing to worry about there. The UI is so much better, but let's talk about this. This is the map, okay? Let's bring up the actual map. And this thing looks great. I remember the old map, you had that little tattered piece of paper, and if you were wearing a ghillie set of gloves, you couldn't see this part of it because your glove was in the way. Yeah, this is awesome. You can put markers down, as I've done for 3 of the 10 caves. You can see where your buddies are. You can see where your last few deaths were. There's all kinds of stuff you can mark on here. And it's awesome. No more need for a GPS because the actual map gives you the coordinates, whatever you're looking at. People can, you can track each other in a tribe, so there's no more struggling to find each other out there. Like, oh, I'm over here, I'm over there. Come find me. No, somebody can actually just bring you up, or the creature you're on, and fly or run directly towards you, which is just amazing. Now, the UI itself is nice. Definitely a lot sharper, a lot cleaner looking. The fact that you now have a cosmetics tab is awesome. You don't have to worry about, I remember back in the day in Ark Survival Evolved, if you died and you spawned back in, you had all those default skins that you had earned that would just spawn right back in with you, And that got to be frustrating after a while, especially if you were in a situation where you were rushing to go get your stuff. You ran back and you grabbed your stuff. You're like, all right, I got all my stuff. And you look and you're like, I got all these damn skins again. I don't need all this right now. Yeah. So that's cool that they changed that and put that cosmetics tab in. It's also a little bit of a pain sometimes because you don't always remember to re-equip your chibi because he's in there. And that's another thing. That's another thing we'll talk about is the chibi has its own slot now. You don't have to waste the offhand slot on a chibi, which is just awesome. That was always annoying. You can have a chibi, but you can't have a shield? Come on. Just kind of a goofy little thing there. Ooh, we got some good stuff here. Yeah, let's talk about the drops while we're at it. The drops have improved significantly. I mean, we just picked up, mediocre saddle, but a nice little flak helmet there. And I'll be using this on Hobbit later, this electric prod. The The drop quality has improved significantly. There's so much better stuff coming down in the drops. Even a basic white, blue and green drops, the lower tier ones, are useful, especially early game. Later game, maybe not so much, but every now and then you'll get a gem out of them, It might be a low-tier saddle for like a quote-unquote low-tier creature like a Phiomia or a Parasaur, but you can still get an Ascendant saddle out of there. You can get some really good gear for hide and cloth. And I don't know about you, but I use hide and cloth a lot in the game. And that's because they're both very easy to repair. You can repair them in your inventory if you got a good set of it. And, you can handle a lot of stuff with it. It's not that bad. Now, certain caves and all that I wouldn't use it in, but for the most part, yeah, it works for day-to-day traveling around and doing your normal stuff that you're doing. Occasional, higher level boss fights and caves, well, yeah, maybe not. Maybe not so much. The creatures now have a better AI as far as like their traversal and stuff like that, which is cool. It's not perfect, I've noticed some issues with it. Like, one of the biggest issues I have, and they've always been a pain in the ass to maneuver around, is a group of berries in the water, baryonyx. They always kind of just spaz out and get stuck and all that. And I've noticed this time they do weird stuff, like I'll be swimming through the water at a certain depth, and I look behind me and they're all down on the bottom, swimming on the very bottom of the ocean, and they're getting stuck in coral and stuff like that. I'm like, come on guys, I'm not at the bottom of the ocean. Now, I understand if I was there and they were following me, yeah, okay, they're doing what they're doing, but no. So that would be kind of annoying when they would do that kind of stuff. But for the most part, it's better. Now you can't. Now you got to learn how to travel again, because like back in the day, you could jump off the cliffs on a creature if you had other creatures following you, and then jump off the back of your creature right before you land to prevent fall damage to him. And if you timed it just right, nobody took any damage, and everybody else would just follow you. Well, that doesn't always happen now. A lot of times, the guys following you are going to go wander around and look for a better route down, which could take them some time. And that could be an issue, That could be a real issue. So, yeah, that kind of sucks. Oh, look, Hobbit has some Uranus flying up into the sky. Awesome. Bye, guys. Oh, they're coming back down. Yeah. So, this leads me into, and that's just some of the good stuff. There's a lot of good things going on here. A lot of great things. But those are the ones that really, really stand out to me. Now let's talk about the bad. And the bad is that Wildcard told us this game was rewritten with brand new code, basically from scratch. And it wasn't, I can tell you that. Too many of the old problems... Oh, look at this guy. He's a 150. Are you kidding me? But yeah, too many of the old problems that existed in the original Ark persist in this iteration of the game. And that's a little frustrating. That shows me that no, you guys didn't redo the code from scratch. You just kind of took the old code and dressed it up a little bit and tried to fix things a little bit here and there, but you didn't fix everything. So a lot of persistent problems, from creatures falling through floors and stuff like that. It can be very, very aggravating from time to time. Is it the end of the world? No, it's for the most part the game is playable. But I have run into some situations that have, caused some serious aggravation. So, one is the 50-50 issue, right? Let me see if, yeah, we're almost there. So, at 50-50 on the map, and it's happened to both Hobbit and myself, we've both appeared here on top of a weird random... Oh, hold on. Yeah, a weird random... foundation just floating in the middle of the sky, right? And you're kind of stuck in the foundation. Sometimes creatures appeared around you. Sometimes your creatures, sometimes random creatures. One time we had a whole bunch of cave creatures appear. There were onyx and spiders and scorpions, and one of my creatures appeared there. But it seems like the creatures are duped when they appear there, which is even stranger, but they're not always duped. So my personal story is, I appeared there one time, we were playing, and I logged in, and I think No, it didn't ask me to choose a location. It's just, you know, when I woke up there, standing on top of a hunk of foundation. This was after we explored the water cave, the easy water cave, where I got killed and lost a lot of baryonyx, and I also lost a otter in there. And so anyway, the next day or whatever after, several hours after all that event had happened, right? So we had played more in the game for a few more hours after that death occurred and all that craziness. And then, and, you know, went to bed and all that. Next day, came on to play, and I appeared there. But I was also, like, several hours back. I appeared before I died, because I had all my baryonyx still on me. And I was like, what? I was like, oh, don't tell me I lost a whole bunch of progress and all this other crap, you know, blah, blah, blah. I know the night before when I logged out in bed, you know. I try to always log out in a bed. I've just found less bad things happen to you in this game if you log out in a bed. And, yeah, I couldn't, you know, so, anyways, I had to destroy the pieces that were under me, the foundations, and when I did that and I fell to the ground, I found my otter that had died. And I was like, what the hell? You know, I almost died when I hit the ground, but I got him, and I think it was Hobbit that was nearby. He grabbed me and brought me back to his base, and, you know, I got healthy again. But, you know, to make a long story short, I had to go back home, and I had to, you know, unalive myself using my little implant, you know, because when I got home, I saw I was laying in bed. And I was laying in bed wearing the clothes I wore and had with the weapons I had when I logged off. So I was like, okay, there's all my stuff, right? So I had to unalive myself, and when I did, I was able to log back in and wake up in bed as my own self. I was no longer part of that weird 50-50 craziness that was going on. So, yeah, I got no idea what's happening with that. But there's a lot of bugs in the game. You know, the easy water cave being overspawning is another, you know, pretty rough one right now. It doesn't stop you from progressing, but boy, it slows you down. Let me tell you that. You know, it's a rough one. Yeah, the weird creatures flying up in the air, creatures dropping into the ground. I guarantee you, if I go over to my little polymer farm, some of these guys are going to be in the ground over here. It just seems to happen quite a bit, even if they're on foundations. Now, I know if you had them on top of ceilings, that used to be a problem, and that still is a problem with my snails, but I thought they were safe if they were on foundations, so yeah, I don't really understand all that. That's another bed. Now, another issue, I believe, and this is one that's going to get ironed out over time, is I think they really released this game way, way, way too early, and they should have had a little more content for it before they released it. They've got a plethora of maps, both official and unofficial, and releasing it with only one map. And I understand there were time constraints because of the deal with Nitrado, and that's a deal with the devil that I never really, you know, I never really supported that. I don't like it. I think they got, you know, Snail Games got the short end of the stick with that and all, but nobody's in the ground. It made me a liar. Well, I'm glad to be a liar for once on that. Good. But yeah, Snail Games kind of made a deal with the devil there, and really, it wasn't good for the overall community. Oh, there's some more Uteranus in the sky. It wasn't good for the community, and it definitely wasn't good for the game. They should have let it cook a little longer and release with maybe at least one official and one unofficial expansion. Let the Center and Scorched Earth come out at the time of release, and then maybe later on, you know, start getting more things pumped out. Because, quite frankly, the island is, you know, it is what it is. It's the original map and all that. But it's the absolute worst of all the maps, in my opinion. Well, it's great in some ways because it's, you know, it's very balanced and all that. Doesn't have all these crazy OP creatures on it, although the Rhinonathia now may change that a little bit. But for the most part, it's pretty balanced, right? And it's pretty cool. But, you know, having Scorched Earth out there and the ability to travel to a new map and get some new creatures like, you know, wyverns and the Morella tops and the jerboas and stuff like that would be kind of fun, right? And being able to travel from server to server and create little clusters, being able to fight the Manicore if you wanted to, that would be awesome. And then you had the center, an unofficial map with, it just would have given players a lot more to do right off the bat. Now, I understand, that they've got a plan, a road plan and all that, but I know Wildcard, and I know them well enough to know they're not going to stick to that plan, and they've already not stuck to the plan. Originally, the game was supposed to come out in, October, I think it was, or November, whatever it was, but they missed the mark, and then they released it only for PC. Xbox came a few weeks later, and then it was followed by PlayStation. Scorched Earth was due out in December, and we knew that wasn't going to happen. Or at least I knew that wasn't going to happen. And of course it missed the mark. Here we are almost in February, and it's supposed to come out in, I think it's March, right? Or is it April? But in any case, it's not out yet, right? Then they pushed the center to come out in February, but now that looks like it's coming out at the very end of February, so, it is what it is. There's just not a lot of content for it. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's bleeding a lot of players, is because, they're kind of waiting for more content. And they're like, I'll go do something else. I'll come out and I'll come back when more stuff's released and things are ironed out and it's a little less buggy, and see what happens. So hopefully they resolve a lot of the issues that are causing problems. I know there's a single player save issue that's horrible. I know there's a lot of issues on official servers where they've had to do tons and tons of rollbacks because of exploits and cheating and stuff like that. If Wildcard can get these things under control, then the game will be in a much better state. And I think we'll have a longer, healthier life. So hopefully that's what they're focusing on at this point in time. We'll have to see. But yeah, that's some of the bad in the game, and there's definitely some bad. But is it too late? Is it a dead game? I see people making comments, oh, this is a dead game, blah, blah, blah. I don't think it's a dead game. I think it's going to get legs as more expansions are released and there's more to do. Once Scorched Earth comes out, you're going to get an influx of people. Once Aberration comes out, oh my god, they're going to come in droves. Aberration is probably one of the favorite maps, I think, of the community. I know it's definitely my favorite official expansion, next to maybe Genesis Part 1, which was another unholy buggy mess, but in any case, there's something about there's just something about Aberration, the way it looks. I can't wait to see it in Unreal 5. I can't wait to see those underground areas and all those glowing mushrooms. I mean, we get a taste of it now because they've taken some of those assets, it looks like, and added them into the island inside of caves and underwater and all that. But I just can't wait to see Aberration in all its glory. It's going to be absolutely fantastic, in my opinion. We'll see. Where'd he go? Now let's talk about the ugly. So there is an ugly aspect to the game, and that is stuff like the Frontier packs and upcoming potential microtransactions and stuff like that. I called that a while back, that there would be microtransactions, and I just feel like because of the state of the game, they should have held off on this kind of stuff for a little while. Now I understand Wildcard is pretty much the bread and butter for Snail Games. I think they make all the money, and Snail Games just waste it on other stuff. I don't like Snail Games. Anybody who knows me knows that I do not like that company. I feel like they are misusing the funds that they can use them for whatever they want, but it just feels like they just abuse Wildcard and the money that Ark brings in and spend it on dumb stuff. That's my opinion now, whatever. So yeah, I get that they want to put out these Frontier packs. I mean, releasing the game for a single set price, even though it was a fairly high price for a remaster, it's definitely not a remake, it's a remaster. And having it released with all the expansions and all that, that's what sold me. It's like $45. It's kind of expensive for a remaster, but it's including 3, 4, 5 official maps, and then another 7 or so unofficial maps. Yeah, that's not bad. That's what am I spending, $5 a map basically at this point? Not bad at all. I'll take that. I'll spend that money. No problem. That's thousands of hours of gameplay right there. At least in my opinion. So, I get the fact that they want to make some money, and that they're going to need to, because basically the game is front-loaded on money, right? You buy the game, you spend $45, and it's yours, right? If 1 million people buy it, well, they made $45 million. Now, that $45 million has to carry them through the release of all these other maps and all that, the production time it takes. It's got to keep the doors open, the bills paid, the electric on, the staff paid, and all that kind of stuff during that time. And that might be tough because you got all that money front loaded. Now, of course, you're always going to sell more copies here and there as new expansions come out and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's going to be a little challenging because you're front loaded on the money. So by adding these frontier packs that come out with I think it's just only going to be every official DLC, so we're going to see 5 of these things. They include some cosmetics, some new stuff like a new creature. We saw I think it's called the Oasisaurus in the last Community Crunch, not the one that just came out, but the one prior to it. Railroad tracks, stuff like that. I don't understand how this stuff's going to work, and I don't understand how it's going to impact the game. So I host a server that my buddies and I play on for live streams and whatnot, right? And we're on that server right now. If I host a second server for Scorched Earth and I buy that pack, I'm going to have access to all the stuff on it, right? Is my tribe also going to have access to all that stuff? Are they going to be able to use it? Is it going to work like a mod? Like, even though this is my server here and the guys join me, they have to download all the mods we use on here. Is it going to be like that with the Frontier Pack as well, where it's going to force them to do that? Because if that's the case, well, that can cause trouble. If Hobbit doesn't want to spend the money, or Gameplay doesn't want to spend the money, then there's no point in putting it on the server, because it'll be unusable there. So I'm interested to see how Wildcard handles this, and what they plan on doing with it for private servers, and especially for official servers. Is this stuff going to be available on official servers? And if it is it going to be, are they going to have to divide official servers up and say, okay, well, this is an official server that uses the Frontier Pack and this one isn't, because you got to break these things apart so you don't have people talking about paying to win, which is one of the big arguments here, is that the game is pay to win with stuff like that. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Another way that they're going to be making money soon is paid mods, which are coming out, I believe, in the beginning of February, or if not, then pretty soon afterward. Those are the premium mods. And you know what? I don't begrudge that one single bit. I think mod makers should make some money. I know they're not making the lion's share here, but at least they're making something, and I'd have no problem supporting a mod creator if you made a great mod. Absolutely zero problem doing that. But I'd be picky and choosy with it. There's a lot of great mods out there. I was worried that they were going to lock some really useful, good mods behind paywalls, and they haven't done that. I've got the nice Cryopod mod, I've got QOL Plus, I've got some really good mods on here that, if they were locked behind a paywall, I would have to seriously think about it and say, maybe I will spend $5 or $10 for that mod, because it makes things so much easier. So, my understanding is premium mods are going to be like DLC level mods. Pretty big. Maybe they're going to be maps, maybe they're going to have new creatures, I don't know. It's all speculation at this point. It'd be kind of cool if it was, if we got new maps and all that, it'd be really cool. Everybody remembers that the Center and Ragnarok and Fjordur and all those others, they started off as mods, and then eventually Wildcard took them under their banner and made them official maps, right? So that's also, I would think, a possibility that could happen with ASA. And let's not forget, they're also going to be releasing some new canon expansions. I think they said 1 or maybe 2. I don't exactly remember. But in any case, we've got some new stuff coming out that will be canon, and that will continue on the story of Ark, maybe leading it up to Ark 2. Who knows? But anyway, that's just my 2 cents on the whole game, the state of the game, where it stands now after 500 hours. Do I regret getting it? No, I don't regret getting it. I think the game's a lot of fun, just like the original Ark was. Yeah, I do think it's also a little stale because I'm stuck here on this island, but we're not done with the island anyway, so, you know, I'm kind of glad that we're stuck here. I'm trying to push through and get us to a point where we have all the bosses beat and all that, so we can begin Ascension, so that when Scorched Earth does come out, we can move right onto that and bring our characters over. And yeah, oh yeah, we're going over Ascended. We're going over at level 10, whatever it is at the time, and we're going to kick ass on Scorched Earth. So each subsequent expansion is going to be a little easier to get through because we're going in fully leveled up. But that doesn't mean I won't be able to also go in and play through from scratch with a brand new character, which will make it fun in a whole different way. So, you know, there's a lot of replayability to it. There's a lot here in the game. And if Wildcard delivers what they promised with all the expansions, official and unofficial, then yeah, I would definitely have no problem with what I spent on this game and acquiring it and all that. And I would do it again. And I'd highly recommend it. If you liked Ark Survival Evolved, you're going to probably love Ark Survival Ascended. It's got, you know, everything else is just a little prettier now, a little cooler, a little easier to deal with, and it's got mods, man. It's got mods. If you are a console player, you never had mods on this game. I don't know about you guys, but I used to watch videos of content creators showing off some new mods, and I was always like, oh, you know, watching Syntac use Structures Plus, and I'd be like, oh, I wish I had that, you know. I wish I had that. Oh, it's just craziness, you know. Seeing the nanny, here she is right here, the gardener, all that fun stuff used to make me crazy. I wanted that stuff so bad for my game. So yeah. So overall, it's a solid game. It's a, you know, I'd give it maybe, you know, if I want to be brutally honest, a 7 at this point, out of 10. You know, it's got a lot of room for improvement, optimization, stuff like that. It's got a lot of room for that. But, you know, it's only going to get better through time, I hope. You know, I hope that Wildcard continues to work on it, continues to optimize it, continues to upgrade and add new stuff, new features and all that. And hopefully this game will be a 9 in a couple years when everything's out and, you know, it's just every map is full of fun stuff to do, and you got guys running around all over the place having a good time from server to server. So anyway, my 2 cents. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you haven't done so, please leave a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and to ring that bell for notifications. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, peace.